I've been getting subscription boxes since 2018 and I have ended up building up quite the collection. And it's time for me to try and clear through some of this backlog. I still have books on these shelves from 2021 and I want to try and get through it. So the intention with this series is to try and clear through this backlog. However, as we all know, subscription box services are still going on and I do still get quite a few of them. So as the books are leaving, more books are coming in. My intention by the end of 2025 is to only have 2024 and 2025 releases on the shelves. Can we do it? As a quick recap, in episode 1, I did give a 4.5 star, a 4 star, a soft DNF, and I DNF'd 3 books. I have, outside of Keep It or Yeet It, read another 2 books as well. And going into this round, we are starting off with 42 books. So let's see what damage we can do. Hi team, I hope you're all well. I am here for episode 2 of Keep It or Yeet It. Last month's episode went down so well. I actually wasn't anticipating it to go down as well as it did. I know that these series are very popular, but I didn't expect it to go down as well as it did. I didn't expect to have as many nice messages as I did, because I know I was a little anxious through that video with all the DNFing I was doing. So I appreciate every single one of you for being truly lovely in that video. I really appreciate it. It's definitely made me very excited to do this second round. So yeah, I've been eager to get back to this project actually since I finished the last one. So I'm very excited. As the intro did mention, I actually forgot about a straggler of a book on my shelves that did come from a subscription box, which was Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. I forgot about this because I can't tell you how many times this has been on a unhaul pile and then made its way back to my shelves. I don't know if it's grown legs or walked, or I keep putting it back. I don't know. But this was a straggler. So I started off this entire series with 45 books, which was a lie. It was 46. So we're just going to bear that in mind. But in theory, we ended episode 1, bearing in mind that I did start in theory now with 46, not 45. In theory, we ended episode 1 in the same position. Because, is that right? Yeah, it's right. Because I read 2 books and I was unhauling 3. One of which, a different book, Tell of a Small Fortunes, was going back on my shelves. So that's 5 books overall that I did something with in that episode. And I've since had 5 books come in from subscription boxes. So we ended up back in the same position, essentially. Now, what's happened since that episode is that I have read 2 books. So I did read Forget Me Not during a 24-hour readathon, and also Bat Eater, which came in during January. So I've read both of these since the first Keep It or Yeet It. I'd never ever said that I wasn't gonna read my subscription box books outside of Keep It or Yeet It, because I want to be able to dip in and out of these if I want to. Like, this came in and I immediately wanted to get to it, and then I don't know what happened here. I was just in the mood, so I picked it up. It turns out I actually really enjoyed it. But yeah, this came in, I picked it up straight away, loved it, it was fantastic, and then I've ended up reading this one. So I'm another 2 books down. These will be staying, they'll be going back on my shelves, but they will be staying. And that then does bring us to 44 books. So in theory, we're starting the episode off on 44 books, but we're actually going to be starting the episode off on 42, because there's another 2 books on my shelves that I'm actually just going to unhaul without even trying, for reasons. So the first one is Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel. The reason being behind this one is that, in all honesty, this hasn't really been on my radar at all. And I'm aware that this author has done Kai Kei as well. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Which, again, not on my radar because I just don't think they will be up my street. I think that the writing style in this is going to be quite lyrical and flowery. And I have had a look through some reviews to confirm that. And it does seem to be the case. I don't know if it's more so in this one than it is in her other one, or whether it's more so in the other one than it is this one, but regardless, it's not really something that I've wanted to pick up. It's not been on my radar. I wasn't interested in it when it came in. It's a very, very beautiful book, really stunning book, but I just think that the writing style is not going to be for me, which is a shame, but it is what it is, unfortunately. Similarly, on the same grounds, but also because of some of the other books that this is massively compared to in a lot of people's reviews, as well as the actual synopsis of this book, Cruel Illusions by Margie Fuston. I kept this on my shelves because I think I did a trial chapter and I quite liked the first chapter. Well, I didn't hate it. I was interested to potentially continue on. But this does state Caraval meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now listen, I enjoyed Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I never watched it really particularly as a kid, but I have seen episodes. Didn't hate it. It was great. I've never watched it right through. I read Caraval, DNF the series. It was at a time where I was very, very new to YouTube and I was very new to my fantasy reads, and I was finding my feet with it all, and I didn't realise I didn't like the flowery lyrical prose. So it was in that moment that I suddenly started realising, so anything that's ever compared to Caraval is almost an immediate no for me. But similarly, a lot of people have not only compared this to Caraval, but they've also compared it to The Night Circus, which is also another DNF from me, and authors similar to that writing style. So I'm gonna unhaul these two, which brings us down to 42 books. So we started off originally with 46 in January, we're down to 42. The books are shifting. I'm happy with that. So, because naturally more books are going to come in. Let's go into what I'm planning on reading for this vlog. Obviously this is not entirely set in stone, I could change my mind at any point, but if you've seen my TBR, you will know that of 2 books that I'm definitely going to be reading for this vlog. But in theory, this is what I have my eye on. I do have my eye on a handful of others as well, because obviously when I get DNFs, I'm then kind of thrown out of my zone. So I've got others that I've actively got my eye on and really want to pick up. But obviously Iron Widow by Kieran J. Zhao is on my TBR. It was on my Feb TBR for an Illumicrate book, if I remember correctly. Yes. So this is from Illumicrate. I've had it for ages and I've been recommended this a lot. And they currently have the new one with, is it Tyrant's Throne or whatever hell? I've always got Tyrant's Throne in my head. That's the Sebastian D. Castell book. I don't know if that's what it's called. But the Tyrant's, whatever it's called, the second one is available with the new sprayed edges with Iron Widow on the Illumicrate shop. So I would be interested in getting it if I enjoy this. So that's on my shelf, on my TBR, sorry, for this video. And also No One Leaves the Castle by Christopher Healy, which is a middle grade from Owl Crate Jr. and is on for the prompt of middle grade. So they are actively on my February TBR. I will be reading those two. You liar! I am starting this vlog at the very end of January. It's the Wednesday before January finishes. So we're a few days into January, so I won't be starting those yet because they are on my Feb TBR. And then these are just books that I'm kind of winging. I did get The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren, and also then the matching The Soul Equation, which I've read The Soul Equation, but not True Love Experiment. And I just keep seeing them on my shelves. I'm like, why did I ever get them? I mean, this came in a box, so I didn't have much choice, but I just don't know why I got them, because I enjoyed The Soulmate Equation, but I didn't love it. It wasn't one of my favourites. So part of me's like, let's get this read and get it off my shelves, you know what I mean? So this one, I reckon. And then also Watermoon by Samantha Soto Yamboa. I really want to read this one. I got an arc of this and I haven't picked it up yet, so I really, really want to prioritise this book. I'm very excited. It did come very recently in the January Illumicrate box, so I do want to get to this one urgently because I should have read it by now and I has not. Naughty Steph, naughty Steph. So 2 birds, 1 stone with that one. And then similarly, Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. Now, those of you that know my reading taste will be looking at your TV right now going, what the fuck do you mean?
That's a good question.
What do you mean? Because I've DNF'd 2 books from Alex E. Harrow before. I've DNF'd Once and Future Witches, and I've DNF'd 10,000 Doors of January, or whatever the hell that one's called. And I don't like Alex E. Harrow's writing style. We've just been through this with those 2 other books. I don't like lyrical prose, which is Alex's writing style. It's just not for me, unfortunately. However, this is an incredibly beautiful book. I'm obsessed with this. I actually had to ask them for a replacement when it came because the bonding on, I'm terrified of stretching this too far. The bonding on the end papers was completely separated, and you could have stuck a pencil right through and all the way to the other side. So they had to replace it for me. And this is just so beautiful. And I think the synopsis in general sounds incredible. It's like a gothic, I think, haunted house story, and I'm very excited about it on that basis, but I'm terrified about the writing style. Luckily Jade's got the audiobook for this, so I don't need to spend a credit on the audiobook, which is good news. Similarly, it's on my 12 books from 12 friends, so again, 2 birds, 1 stone. If I DNF this one, it gets it off my shelves. 2, I can stop looking at it because I'm constantly looking at it thinking I should probably try that, and then I'm not wasting a credit on the audiobook, so no, I shouldn't. And then 3, it gets it off the 12 books from 12 friends for me as well. So I am going into this one hoping that I'll love it, but also thinking that there's a good possibility I'm not going to because of the writing style. I'm going to start with this one actually, so we could be starting this video off with a DNF. I'm not sure whether or not that's a good idea, but I will be working for the next 2 days, and then Andy's off on the Friday, and then we've got some wedding stuff on the weekend again, and I've got a 24-hour readathon with my patrons over the weekend as well. So I don't know how much reading I'm actually going to be able to get done, so I don't want to commit to getting partway through a book that I'm super duper 100%, you know, chances are gonna love. I'm really hoping that stuff doesn't let me down. That would be shocking. And then have to stop. So I feel like this is a good one to commit to, potentially. So the synopsis for this is: step into Starling House if you dare. Nobody in Eden remembers when Starling House was built, but the town agrees it's best to let this ill-omened mansion and its last lonely heir go to hell. Stories of the house's bad luck, like good china, have been passed down the generations. Opal knows better than to mess with haunted houses or brooding men, but when an opportunity to work there arises, the money might get her brother out of Eden. Starling House is uncanny and full of secrets. Just like Arthur, its heir. It also feels strangely, dangerously like something she's never had, a home. Yet Opal isn't the only one interested in the horrors and the wonders that lie buried beneath it. Sinister forces converge on Eden, and Opal realises that if she wants a home, she'll have to fight for it. Even if it involves digging up her family's ugly past to achieve a better future, she'll have to go down, deep down beneath Starling House to claw her way back to the light. It sounds so good. Oh my god, I never noticed that before. It sounds really good, and I am excited about it, but I'm also incredibly anxious that I'm going to hate the writing style of this. I really don't want to, so I am going into this hoping that I'm going to like it, but very aware of the fact that there's a good chance I'm not going to. So let's just bear that in mind, everybody, shall we? I'm excited though, because I feel like I've got quite a good mix here. I've got like a sci-fi, fantasy sci-fi. I've got a middle grade mystery. I've got a romance. I've got a cozy fantasy romance kind of book. And then I've got this, which is like a horror, paranormal, fantasy, haunted house. I don't know what the hell this is actually. I have no idea, but I feel like we've got a good mix. And then like I say, I've got my eye on other books as well if we go through a whole surge of a bunch of DNFs again. And I like that I'm kind of making this, it's a week and a half long. Actually, it's over a week and a half long. It's the Wednesday before, and I will finish this, not the upcoming Sunday but the Sunday after. So giving myself way loads of time to get through a whole bunch of books, because I really want to make some good progress with this. I can't keep having 5 books coming in and only managing like 5 books going out, because we will just continue the same. It's just repeating. I mean, at least I'll be making some progress in the sense that at least the books aren't continuing to just build and build and build like they have over the last couple of years, but you know, it would be nice to make some progress. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I just wanted to introduce this vlog, let you know how it's been going so far. That was a little complicated in the beginning because I've been reading books outside of Keep It or Yeet It that are pertinent to the numbers, but also then I'm unhauling books as I go as well without having tried them, which is a thing that also I can do. There's no rules with this, I can do whatever I want with it, but just wanted to give you an update on the numbers. So we're starting off with 42 books. We'll see what we end up with by the end of this vlog and see how that goes. So let's go. Okay, hello. It is the next day. It is Wednesday, the 29th. Wednesday the 29th. Look at that. I do know my days of January. And shocking turn of events. I am reading Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. That's not the shocking part. The shocking part is that I'm continuing to read Starling House. I anticipated that I might have come back to you last night, actually, about 20 pages into this, saying that I was DNFing it. However, I'm coming back to you 119 pages in, telling you that I am actually enjoying this. I am shooketh. I'm so glad I didn't just unhaul this. This is the reason books like this, books like Ghostsmith by Nikki Palpretto, are the reason that I am doing this series, and the reason that I'm now reluctant to kind of get rid of books without giving them a try at least. I know I did it yesterday with Cruel Illusions and also with Goddess of the River, but those are two books that I literally have no interest in, and the comparisons to other books I know I'm not going to enjoy. However, with this one, I have had a good look on Goodreads, and there aren't many people going on about the pros of this book. So despite the fact that I have DNF'd 2 books from Alex E. Harrow previously due to the writing style, I truly thought that I was going to DNF this because of that. However, I was going into it with the mindset that I actually really want to enjoy this book because the premise sounds great. I love a haunted house story. You know this anyway if you've been here for a while. If you haven't, I love a haunted house story. And that's what this is. It's also, I didn't actually know this, I don't think it's on the synopsis, but it's actually supposed to be a bit of a Beauty and the Beast retelling as well, and I can see why that is. So we've got Opal, who lives with her brother Jasper. She's working, I think she's working 2 jobs when we meet her in this story, but there is this place called Starling House in town, and she walks past it every day to get back to the motel that she's currently living in with her brother Jasper. Now, everything that she does is for her brother. Her mum died in a car accident, her dad has been MIA for a long time, and her and her brother have different dads but the same mum. So she's currently looking after her brother. Now, he's a really smart individual and she wants him to go to a private school. He's applied, he's gotten in, so everything that she does is for him, and all of her money goes towards that, paying that. So one day she's coming home from work and she ends up stopping outside of Starling House and having a look back at it outside the gates, and the warden that currently lives there is on the other side of the gate and ends up grabbing her hand and telling her to like run. So she runs back to the motel, and then the following day, I think it is, she stops again and puts her hand on the gate. She like struggles to get the gate to open, but she puts her hand on the gate and it opens for her. And she goes inside and she ends up having a conversation with Arthur, and he ends up hiring her as a housekeeper. So she doesn't tell anybody this though. Like Bev, the woman that runs the motel, she doesn't tell her. She kind of keeps her eye on Opal and Jasper. She doesn't tell Jasper. She doesn't really tell anyone that that's where she's working, because she knows that there is a lot of lore and stories about Starling House and about the people that used to live there, the Graveleys, and the people that became Starlings and the wardens and all of this lot. Now Arthur, down his line, I think, they are the wardens of Starling House, and we're learning essentially throughout this story. We've got Opal and Arthur. Opal's obviously now working there. Arthur is the warden there. She's very slowly getting to grips with the fact that Arthur cannot leave by the looks of things, and he doesn't leave, and this house is haunted. Like, it will mess with the floor plan and things like that. She's looking for something, it will mess with the floor plan, it will move things around. I don't know why, but I've got the house from oh no, what's the movie called? The Disney movie. I've got the house from this movie stuck in my head, and I don't know why. It's clearly not going to look like that. It will be something much more gothic and much more dark and dreary, but for some reason I've just got this in my head, probably because it takes the piss with Opal a lot, the house, and it's quite slow, I will say. But we also have, I don't really know if I want to get into what's going on with this company, because I don't want it to, I don't know if it's a secret or not secret, spoiler, sorry, or not, but there is something else on the outside of the house going on with this as well, that's involving Opal. And in general, I think this is quite a slow story. However, what I'm finding is that I am very invested, and I don't even know what in. I don't know what I'm actually invested in. I'm invested in the house as a whole. I think that it will hopefully become a real main character in the story and quite an integral part of the story. I'm invested in Opal being invested in the house and the stories. I'm invested in Arthur and his story. I want to get to know him more. And I'm just having an actual good time with this. It is very slow, which is something usually that puts me off with stories. And I'm not necessarily finding the writing style flowery or lyrical as such. Maybe there are some over descriptive texts in here, but it's not too bad. I'm actually enjoying the writing style. We do get the odd illustration in here as well, which is really beautiful. And I'm quite invested in it. The other thing I was going to mention as well, I knew I was partway through saying something and then got distracted by the Disney movie house. I got distracted by that. We do get the odd portion where it will be story time from somebody basically telling Opal about a story to do with Starling House, and it will go like, it'll change the text and it'll say like, this is the story of Starling House, and we'll get a story. And I think Opal is herself writing a story about Starling House with all the information that she's gathering, and it's quite interesting, and I'm just having a really good time with it. Like I say, I'm a third of the way through now. I'm actually over a third of the way through. This book's about 303 pages and I'm 119 pages in, so I'm just over a third of the way through, and I'm actually having a good time. I did obviously go into this anticipating that I would DNF it and then naturally very quickly move on to another book, which hasn't been the case. So this could slow me down a little bit, but I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. But regardless, I'm having a good time. I finally found an Alex E. Harrow that I'm enjoying. So nothing says that will continue. But I'm hoping that it does, because I am quite invested in this. I want to see where it goes. I want to see the Beauty and the Beast retelling side of it is very loose, incredibly loose. But the whole thing with Arthur not being able to leave the grounds, I'm interested in finding out what that is and why that is. And then obviously, you know, we've got Opal in there. She does describe Arthur as being someone that's quite ugly, and then she talks about herself like having crooked teeth, and she's very pale, and you know, she herself is quite ugly. So that is interesting as well. It's not a case of like, she's the most beautiful girl on the planet, she's not like other girls, and he is the most stunning man on the planet, blah blah blah. They're, you know, it's described in ways that, you know, they're not, the beauty is not a thing for them, either of them. We do on occasion as well, this is told in first person perspective from Opal's POV, but on occasion we get, like towards the end of a chapter, we'll get Arthur's POV but in third person. That switch took me a moment to get through, but it's very interesting to get his POV. Not all the time, it's not like every other chapter, but at the end of one of the chapters we might get his POV on something, and it's quite interesting as well to get that. So I'm having a good time, and I'm really interested in seeing where this goes. Did not foresee that happening. So maybe this episode will be a much more not productive. The last episode was still productive, but maybe a more positive episode, in the sense that I enjoy my books a little bit more, which would be great, you know. So yeah, having a good time. I'm as shocked as you are. Hello, happy Sunday. I haven't spoken to you since Friday. Did I speak to you on Friday? I probably haven't spoken to you actually since Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know. I was making my way through The Starling House by Alex E. Harrow, and I didn't want to keep coming back and giving you updates. I just wanted to get the book finished and get through it, which I did on Friday, quite late on in the day, and then I spent the rest of the afternoon with Andy because he was off work. So I did finish this off with my patrons on Friday, and then yesterday we went to our now wedding venue and temporarily booked that in. We obviously need to speak to the registrar, but because yesterday was Saturday, we're going to have to wait till Monday to do that. So we've got the venue locked in and we have the photographer locked in, which is very exciting. So just the registrar to sort on Monday. I'm a little bit terrified, I've got to be honest, that the registrar could fuck us up, because obviously the reason why you get, like, we have a 2-week hold on the venue, and the reason why you get that is because if the registrar cannot do that day, you cannot legally get married. We could have a celebrant marry us, but we can't, it would not be legal. Not in the UK anyway. I know that in Scotland, sorry, not in England anyway, I know that in Scotland a celebrant can marry you legally, but it has to be a registrar in England. So very silly law, but it is what it is. So yeah, the celebrant could fuck us up if the date is taken, and we could end up needing to potentially move our date with both the venue and the photographer, which is such a pain in the ass. So I'm hoping, I've got all my fingers crossed entirely that we can get that sorted. But it is now Sunday. Andy is on the PlayStation, so I'm going to take advantage and get some reading done. I just don't know what I'm in the mood to read, so finding myself a little bit lost. The TBR that I have, I'm just like, meh. So anywho, I did finish Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. It was going so well. I don't know what happened with this. I really liked the first half of this book. I was actually enjoying myself. I was intrigued with what was going on. I was intrigued with what was happening at Starling House. I was interested in Arthur, and I was interested in Opal and their story as a whole. And then I don't know what happened. A little bit of a romance element came into it, which I really don't think that we needed. But a little bit of a romance element came into it. And then I felt like the end, the last like 100 pages or so, was super messy. I don't know what happened. To start off with, this story was very slow. I told you this when I updated you the other day. This story is a very slow story. Like, the audiobook is 12 hours something long. The book is only just over 300 pages. It's an incredibly slow story, and then all of a sudden, like, the last, I don't know, 50 to 100 pages was like 100 miles an hour. It was so bizarre. I still don't actually fully understand what happened at the end. I still don't get it, because I just completely lost it with the book. I just didn't get it. I didn't understand what was going on. So I don't know, this was such a bizarre story. It was really weird. It was like a story of two halves, and I think this is definitely my end with Alex E. Harrow. I think there is no way that I will in future be like, oh yeah, I'll give that one a try. I think if another Alex E. Harrow comes in the subscription box, if I know in advance, I'll skip it if I can. But if not, I will just immediately sell it on. I kept hold of this one because the covers are so pretty, so stunning, and it's a haunted house story. It wasn't particularly terrifying. Was it atmospheric? Yes. Did it lose the atmosphere side of things towards the end? Yes, because it was so chaotic and insane. I didn't like it. I'm really sad about the whole thing. I ended up giving it 2.5 stars, but I'm really sad about the whole thing because I started this on Wednesday. I finished it on Friday. It was the only thing I read on Friday. And Wednesday and Thursday were like my working days. So actually I started it on Tuesday. I started it straight after the 24-hour readathon. So I started it on Tuesday, read it till Friday. But Wednesday and Thursday were like my worky days. So I was up and down with whether or not I wanted to actually pick this up when I came home from work, and I was like trying to pick something else up, but I'm just really sad. This is why I actively DNF, but because the beginning of this book started so well, I thought that it was going to end the same way, and it just didn't. So yeah, take it from me, if you are not an active DNFer, take it from me, DNF your book. If you're not enjoying it, DNF it. I kind of wish I'd gotten to a point where I actually did DNF this, because I did realise about 60% of the way through that I wasn't enjoying myself anymore and I wasn't having a good time, and I forced myself to finish it because I've committed at that point. And I wish I hadn't. I wish I'd just DNF'd it. I wish I'd stuck to my guns and DNF'd it. 2.5 stars. It's not a horrendous rating, obviously. It's the 2.5 stars is for the beginning and for the atmosphere, but I don't know. From here on out, I will be unhauling any other Alex C. Harrows that come in out of my control. But yeah, this is kind of like the nail in the coffin for me with Alex. It's nothing Alex has done. I clearly don't get on with the writing style. So, yeah, 2.5 stars. What a way to start the video. And here I was thinking I was going to start the video off with the DNF with that book, because that's what I was not aiming for, but that's what I thought was going to happen with that. And I thought, okay, I can get this off my TBR pretty quickly with a DNF, and then we can get motoring with the video then. And it's kind of put me in a little bit of a slump. I haven't picked anything up since Friday when I finished that book, and I'm really annoyed about it. I'm really annoyed about sticking to my guns with it, because now I'm like, well, I could mood read, but I've got a narrowed TBR here now, very narrowed TBR with only books that have come in from subscription boxes. So I am finding myself a little bit stuck now because I don't know what to pick up next. I'm not in the mood for like sci-fi right now. I think maybe I need like a romance or something, but I don't know what to do. The romances that I have, I've got Under Lock and Key by Lana Ferguson, which came in January. Some of my backlist, I have Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. I've got True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. I'm not really in the mood for this because, again, the science stuff will come into it because it's the sequel to the soulmate equation. So I think that's going to fuck around with science a little bit. I could be wrong, but... And I've got Second Chance in Newport Stephen by TJ Alexander, but that's a Christmas romance. So I don't know what to do. I could try and plow my way through the middle grade I was planning on reading, which would be a very quick read and would get another book off my TBR and make me feel like I'm actually making some progress with this video. I'm finding myself a little bit stuck now, which is super frustrating. If I had like a volume of Lore Olympus left, for example, actually no, because that doesn't count because I'm buying them through Lumacrate separate to the subscription service, so that doesn't work. You know what I did get in a subscription box actually, and it's not a special edition, but it did come in a subscription box service and I forget about it all the time. That might give me the little bit of a break of, like, you know, fun romance that I need. This Live Ranch Love by Emma Lucy came in a She Made It book, She Made It box, and it's the only one that I've had from her so far that I haven't read yet, and it's a cowboy romance. So this could be an option. I might just go downstairs and scour my shelves. I really do want to read this, but I want to be in a better reading mood, a better headspace when I pick this up. The only thing that I'm doing by delaying this is meaning that next week I will have these left over because I really do want to read them. Obviously these two are actually on my TBR and I do really want to read this because I have an arc of it as well, and I do need to do a review for my arc. So it's inevitably delaying these into next week, which again, I've already got a busy week. I'm going to have to be filming on Monday and editing for my videos for next week. And then I've got Tuesday at home, Wednesday and Thursday I'm at work, Friday Andy's off work again, and then the weekend. So I'm just delaying the inevitable at that point, but I don't know, maybe this could be an option. Maybe I go downstairs and see what I've got actually on the shelves downstairs. maybe I'll do that. I'll come back to you and let you know what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm not 100% set on what I'm going to do. I did check. I think this is being republished by an author, so I think it's been picked up. I'm not 100% sure. You can still get this copy on the Zon, but there is a new version of it as well with paperback and audiobook release as well. So I don't know, there isn't an audiobook for this one and I could do with an audiobook today. So I've brought down two books, brought up actually two books because the bookshelf is downstairs. I brought The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean, which is a romantasy, it's queer, it's cozy, it's got the vibes, it's for fans of TJ Klune and Travis Baldry, as far as the cozy fantasy stakes are concerned, with the heartwarming contemporary romance of Alex Oseman and Casey McQuiston. And it's got all like magical beasts in it, phoenixes, unicorns, kelpies, krakens, etc. And it was, when it came in, I was really excited about it and I've just not picked it up. So that is an option for me. It's an Illumicrate book as well. So if I don't get to, I'm going to be sad about it, I Am Widow, but if I don't get to this, I could swap this out for that prompt, which will help me out actually massively because this is about 14 hours on audio. The other option is Heavenly Bodies by Imani Eru. I think that's how you pronounce her name, my apologies. I'm very excited about reading this one. It came in December and I'm super excited about reading this. It is a romantasy and it sounds fantastic and I think I'm gonna love it. So this could definitely be an option. The text in here is huge as well. This could definitely be a contender. I actually think I would really enjoy this. So I'm torn between these two for sure, but I may try a chapter of this or see how this goes, start off with this, see how it goes, and if I'm not feeling it then dive into this because I think this one will be a good option for sure. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I may end up sacking off a romance as a whole this month, and what I might end up doing is, if The Phoenix Keeper goes well, replace Illumicrate prompt with this, because actually, what was Starling House? Oh, Illumicrate. So if The Phoenix Keeper doesn't go well, I can replace with that, which is great news. I still definitely want to get to Watermoon and I still definitely want to get to this, but this definitely is one that I do want to get to, but I'm just not in the mood right now, and I just think that I need to be in the mood for sci-fi when I pick this up. So maybe I will make the decision to swap this out. I'll leave it out for the time being, but I'll swap the prompt out with Starling House now so that it's done. Because I have already finished that one. I did complete it. So we could do that, I suppose. I'm not going to tell you what both of these books are about as far as like the synopsis is concerned, because I haven't made a decision on which one I'm actually committing to. So once I've committed and I'm a ways in, I'll come back and let you know what it's about. So yeah.
I don't know what I'm to do. I just miss you more than anything. It's way too quiet in the house. I'm just wasted on the couch, 'cause I don't wanna feel anything. Wish you'd stayed here beside me. This isn't how it's supposed to be. Wish you'd stay.
Okay, hello, some time has passed. It's currently 25 past 12 in the afternoon and I'm back with a little bit of a reading update. I did start The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean. I got to page 78 of this, chapter 6. So I got to here and I'm a little bit sad about this, I'm not gonna lie. I did my usual trick of scrolling through Goodreads once I started to realise I was actually a little bit bored. Trying to figure out what the problem is. This is pitched as an adult, sapphic, cozy romantasy. I see the cozy element, I see the romanticy element. It's got, you know, all of the very exciting fantastical animals in it, which I actually love that part of it. I love the fantastical animals. I love getting to see them and the way that they are described. Really enjoy that side of things. The sapphic side of things, our main character Isla is actually bisexual, and she, for as much as I've read so far, is actually lusting over one of the male zookeepers, one of the male zookeepers. And we've had our first interaction with the love interest, who is Luciana, and it was like really childish back and forth, mostly from Ayla. It was quite childish back and forth arguing. It's very clear that something happened back when they were in college, and she's held on to this like nothing I've seen before. She's held on to this grudge, whatever it was. It's going to be one of those situations where we find out quite later on in the book, I reckon. But I get the feeling, and from people's reviews, that this is going to be a very long-winded process to get to the romance portion of this book. And it's not really what I went in here for. I kind of anticipated that the romance would be something that I would be into straight away, like the banter back and forth between them, the arguments and stuff. I would notice the spark straight away. I haven't, and I think that based off of the reviews, I think the lusting over the guy is going to go on for much longer than I'm gonna like, essentially. So that's bothering me a little bit. Not only that, but Ayla is actually very immature. She's supposed to be 28 years old. She's got anxiety and she is going to therapy for it, which is great. It's great to see that rep in here, but I find that she's quite immature, and therefore her character, her personality is quite insufferable. I'm just really struggling with it, to be honest. I think that she's very childish. This book is supposed to be an adult and it reads like a YA, and I don't like to go into books anticipating that. So I don't mind if I pick up a YA and it ends up reading more new adult or adult. I don't mind it that way around. But if I'm going into an adult and it reads like a YA, I get really annoyed, because I don't typically, I know I've probably got to stop saying this actually now, but I don't typically read much YA anymore. And on the occasion that I do these days, when I tend to pick it up, it ends up leaning, for me personally, more to the new adult side of things. Whereas this feels so immature. I would have guessed Ayla's age if I didn't know she was 28. I would have guessed her age at around the 16, 17-year-old mark. She is very immature and insufferable on that basis, and I'm just really sad about it, because I think that the animal side of things is super interesting. I am finding that quite interesting. There is a heist kind of thing that has happened in here so far already, and I think that is going to bring the stakes up a little bit. So it is going to be more on the higher stakes side of things, a little bit like Can't Spell Treason Without T side of things, as opposed to Travis Baldry's Legends and Lattes. That was incredibly low stakes. That book was so low stakes. There was almost nothing happening. It was more of like a slice of life type book, and I loved it for that reason. Whereas this is not that. It's got higher stakes in it with this heist, and I assume that's going to come into play a lot more as the story goes on. But I just don't see the need for this book to be almost 500 pages. Like, I just don't know what the point is, and I don't know if I can go on with Ayla anymore. Because she's the character that we're following from, and she's insufferable, and I just don't think I can deal with it. And also the lusting over the guy, for it to then at some point it will just switch. I assume it will be like a switch flicking on as well, because of the first interaction I've already seen between Ayla and Luce. I don't anticipate that this is going to be something that I'm brooding over for the next, you know, 50 to 60% of the book until it eventually actually happens. So I don't know, I'm just not feeling it. I'm not interested, and I'm sad about it. Again, I have mentioned before I came into this that I am feeling a little bit slumpy after Starling House, so maybe it's that, but I don't know. I'm gonna DNF it. I think I am gonna DNF it. I anticipate that this is something that I will put, because I've done this early on in the month, and I don't tend to put any books that I am selling onto Vinted or eBay until I'm getting to a point where I'm ready to do my wrap up, because I like to keep the books for the wrap up. You have the opportunity to change my mind on this and to encourage me to continue on. I can see a lot of my friends have rated this quite highly, 4 or 5 stars. I don't want to continue on with this if it's gonna only be like a 2 or 3 star read for me. I just don't see the point. With it being such a long book, I just don't see the point. So I know I said that if Phoenix Keeper's not working for me, I was gonna go on to Heavenly Bodies. I've actually just made the decision to listen to the preview of each, like of a handful of books essentially, including Heavenly Bodies, these also included. So Iron Widow I am still interested in, but like I say, I'm just not in the mood for sci-fi right now as a whole. True Love Experiment, actually the audiobook does sound quite good, and I potentially would read this one, so we'll see. Not right now though. Watermoon I am very excited about getting to. I just don't know if I should pick this up after I've just DNF'd another cozy fantasy. This is cozy fantasy, so I feel like I should probably try and finish something else and then come back to this one next week. I did try Heavenly Bodies. It sounds great and I am really interested, but again, I just don't know if I need the intensity of such a big romantasy right now. You know what I think my problem is? I just don't know if I want fantasy right now. I think I need pure contemporary, so I think that's what I'm going to end up trying to do. So I did forget that I have this romance on my shelves from Afterlight. This was the December book. Was it the December? Yeah, December book. And I completely forgot that I had it because I tucked it underneath my drawer in my bedroom because I was going to start it the other night. But I totally forgot I had this, and this is supposed to be romantic suspense. So I have read the first chapter already. I read it the other night, which is why it was in my room. And it sounds really good, and I think it's going to be a good time. I think it could be fun, and I think that's what I need. I think I need fun, silly, goofy, you know? So the synopsis for this is: a freelance journalist, Keen Hamer, is assigned by Vogue to get a scoop on Tyler Tunn, Hollywood's hottest movie star. It's a dream come true. Tyler has returned home to Yangon to shoot his latest film, and if Keen gets an exclusive, she'll have a chance at securing a permanent position at the magazine. Tyler is notoriously private and doesn't show any signs of letting down his walls, but then one night on set, a man follows Keen into the park. When he threatens her, Tyler steps in and things escalate fast. Keen knows they can't go to the police, even if it was self-defense. As Keen and Tyler work together to hide their secret, Tyler finally starts opening up, and when they find out Keen was targeted specifically, they grow even closer, leaving Keen feeling horribly guilty about her expose. Before long, everything hangs in the balance. Will they get away with murder? Will Keen get her dream job? And is she willing to risk Tyler's trust in the process? I do hope that this isn't one of those situations where he doesn't know that she's a reporter. Is a reporter? I hope it's not one of those where then, you know, this thing happens in the park with that guy, and then he starts to open up to her and she's, you know, writing all this down for her expose, and she goes behind his back. I really hope that's not the case. I hope he's aware of who she is to begin with, because that will do my nut in. But it sounds interesting and I am looking forward to it. Also, this edition is very, very pretty. The end papers look like this. I think the end papers on the other side are different. Yeah. End papers, and then underneath the dust jacket it looks like this, which is absolutely stunning. I love it. So, and the edges pretty. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go and give this one a read. I feel like it could be a fun, silly, goofy time, whilst also having, you know, it's a contemporary, it's a romance, but there is a mystery element to it, a suspense element to it. I do love a good romantic suspense book, so I think I'm going to give this one a go. Let's hope this one sticks. Hellos, it is Monday and I'm here with a reading update for you. So I have just finished I Did Something Bad, and this round is not going well. Let me tell you, this round is not going well. I ended up giving this 2.5 stars. I was anticipating the vibes of like Finlay Donovan in this. So not in the sense that our main character is, you know, an author that's mistaken for a hit woman, but in the sense of she's found herself in this situation where she's accidentally killed somebody, and then we go through the whole rigmarole of it, you know, being covered up a little bit, etc, etc, and the story kind of goes from there. That's what I was anticipating, and in a way we kind of got that. However, our main character, Keen, she is a journalist essentially, and she gets to have, I think it's a handful of months with this actor whose name is called Tyler, and he knows exactly who she is, which I'm so freaking grateful for, because I was worried that the incident was going to happen before he found out who she was. But no, he knows exactly who she is. The incident happens after they've already met and spent a few days together anyway, and so he helps her out. But it kind of goes from bad to worse. The whole situation kind of goes from bad to worse, and I don't know what I expected from this, but the ending just really bugged me. There was the third act breakup was really annoying. All of a sudden everyone's pissed at her for doing her actual job, and I kind of get it in a way, but also then annoyed at her for being a journo, which is exactly what they knew she was in the beginning. And I don't know, I wasn't feeling the romance. I wasn't particularly feeling the writing too much. I do think it's interesting. There is a conversation in here about abortion clinics and stuff, so if that is something that could be triggering to you, just check your content warnings. But that was an interesting discussion for sure, and interesting for it to be explored. But in general, I didn't love this at all. It didn't give me what I was hoping it would give me. I thought it would be a kind of fun accidental murder type situation like Finlay Donovan, and it just didn't give me that at all. So I don't know, just really freaking sad about it, because it started off quite well, but I don't know at what point it turned, but I didn't enjoy this. 2.5 stars. It's not going well. It's not going well. I am going to move on to Watermoon by Samantha Soto Yambao. Oh, I've been saying Yamboa. Yambao. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I'm going to move on to this because I'm just feeling it. A lot of my patrons are picking it up this evening, and I've heard nothing but incredible things, and I'm very much so looking forward to it. It is about time I got to it as well, because I did receive an ARC for this, so I should have got to it by now. So this one does say, would you rewrite your destiny if it meant losing a part of your past? On a back street in Tokyo lies a pawn shop, but not everyone can find it. Most will only see a cozy ramen restaurant, and just the chosen ones, those who are lost, will find a place to pawn their life choices and deepest regrets. Hana Ishikawa wakes on her first morning as the pawn shop's new owner to find it ransacked, the shop's most precious acquisitions stolen, and her father missing. And then in the shop stumbles a charming stranger quite unlike any other customer, for he offers help instead of seeking it. Together they must journey through a mystical world to find Hannah's father and the stolen choice, through rain puddles, hitching rides on paper cranes, across the bridge between midnight and morning, and through a night market in the clouds. But as they get closer to the truth, Hannah must reveal a secret of her own and risk making a choice she will never be able to take back. It sounds fantastic. I did also get this bookmark with my ARC, which is very, very cool. It sounds great. So this is like cozy fantasy. I know I have been resisting the fantasy a little bit, but I feel like I might be ready to get back to it now. I feel like cozy fantasy mystery is what I need now, because that romantic suspense just didn't do it for me like I hoped it would. So we're going to give this a try, and hopefully it will do better than a DNF or 2.5 stars, because that's all I've had so far in this video. For goodness sakes. I know I haven't chosen these books, and this came up quite a lot in my last episode of this, and I haven't specifically chosen these books, but there are some of them that I was looking forward to. Like, obviously Starling House was not one of them, but The Phoenix Keeper was. I wasn't overly interested, and I did something bad, but the premise sounded alright, so I wasn't mad about it when it came in. This, I am very much so. It's a highly anticipated read for me, so I'm really hoping it doesn't let me down. I'm gonna be devastated if it does. Hello, it is 10 to 3 on Tuesday. I have had quite a busy day today. I got up first thing this morning with Andy at 5:30, and I have been sat here ever since. I really need to go down and make myself some lunch. But I have been trying to tidy this room up a little bit. It won't make much of a difference to you on camera because it still looks a shit tip a little bit. But for me, it is much, that still needs tidying a little bit. But for me, it's much tidier. I've tidied my shelves up just a little bit, made some more room for books, taken some books off my shelves. So there are some more piles on the floor, but we're going to ignore that. And I've tidied up like down here and stuff. I could do with bringing the Hoover up. And tidied up on this shelf as well, my Daisy and Bee shelf. I've edited 3 videos, uploaded, scheduled them all to go up. So that's all, both of this week's videos and then next week's Sunday video. Killing it. This will be Wednesday's video. So yeah, it's been very productive, and I've just finished my 4th book for this vlog. The 3rd book that I've actually finished. And I cannot tell you how devastated I am to come to you with news that this is getting the same rating as Starling House, and I did something bad. It's getting 2.5 stars, and I'm really sad about it. I was very excited about this book. I was even more excited when I got an ARC, and then I was extra excited when I knew it was coming in the subscription box. So I was really, really stoked for this book, and I was hoping that this would be the cozy fantasy that I need, and that this would light up my life and I would be feeling better about my reading. Instead, it has sent me into a little bit of a tizzy, and I'm starting to wonder if I am the problem. What is going on? 4 books in this vlog, 3 2.5 stars. That's literally never happened to me before in my life. 3 2.5 stars and a DNF. What do you mean? And I've read across a bunch of genres as well. So Starling House is like a horror fantasy, albeit the horror in it was not really horror. But that's supposed to be a fantasy with horror. I Did Something Bad was romantic suspense. That should have been a win, straight up. This, cozy fantasy. Oh, jeez. What else did I DNF? Oh, The Phoenix Keeper. Cozy fantasy. I should have enjoyed that. Maybe that should have been my indication for possibly postponing this. Maybe, I don't know. But in general, this started off really, really well. We're following Hannah, who runs this pawn shop. Basically, people will queue up outside for the ramen shop, and then the right people that really need the assistance will end up walking into the pawn shop instead of the ramen shop. They'll be confused for a little bit, but her dad usually talks them down and they end up having a conversation, and people end up exchanging their life choices and deepest regrets, and then the pawn shop will keep hold of them, and if in a week's time you don't come back, the pawn shop keeps them. So that's essentially how this works. Hannah's dad is about to retire, so they have a couple drinks that night, and in the morning when Hannah gets up, the shop's been trashed and her dad's MIA. Very quickly then, this guy walks in called Key, and he is confused naturally because he went for the ramen and ended up in her shop, and she ends up telling him, thinking, oh, he'll leave the shop and he won't remember, it'll be fine. Key makes the decision that he wants to help Hannah out, try and find her dad. So it turns then into this very whimsical world in which you can jump into puddles and you end up in this different world, and you can mooch about on paper cranes and stuff like that, and it's very magical and very whimsical, and I've no doubt if I'd ever watched Studio Ghibli movie it would give me that vibes, but I've never watched a Studio Ghibli movie so maybe I'm missing that. But I liked all of that. I liked the world building. I liked the initial plot of this, and I was intrigued. I wanted to know what was going on. I wanted to know what was happening with her dad, and I wanted to find out, and I wanted her to find her dad. So I was intrigued. I was looking forward to it. And then the romance happened out of nowhere. Entirely left field. It was very insta-lovey, and I wasn't on board, to be honest. I was kind of hoping that these two could maybe just be friends. But I wasn't really on board with the romance, and then I don't know if at some point I just started losing complete fucking interest in this book, but I was losing my way a little bit. I felt like it was all over the place. The pacing was completely insane, and just they were, you know, hopping from one kind of quest to another and another and another, and it felt like 500 pages. I'm not gonna lie. This book, it's not even that long, but it felt like it took me forever. It's 374 pages including the acknowledgements. It felt like it took me forever to get through this. I literally started it yesterday, but it still felt like a slog, and I just don't know how to explain the reason why, because I'm just not sure. I think at some point I did start to lose interest. I didn't particularly care. Well, I definitely didn't care for the romance. I stopped caring for Hannah and Key and their story. And I was starting to lose interest in even finding her dad. Not that I wanted him to be lost forever, but I didn't care. I just didn't care, and I'm really sad about it. And it sent me into a little bit of a spiral mentally, I think, because I just don't know where to go from here with my reading. Like, I want to continue on with this vlog for the rest of the day. Still got a few hours for the day, and my intention was to go into No One Leaves the Castle by Christopher Healy, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm in the mood for this. And I just don't know what to do with myself. I've got open my spreadsheet with all of my books. I don't think I want a fantasy, and I don't know if this is like a fantasy mystery kind of thing, but I'm not sure. But I just don't know if I'm in the middle of if I'm in the mood for this, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, take perfectly crafted locked room mystery set in a whimsical fairy tale world with a cast of captivating characters. It sounds fantastic. I just don't think it's going to be for me right now. I don't think that's going to do me any good. I think I want a romance. I think what I need is, like, I don't want to say a guaranteed good read, because at the moment I just don't know if anything is a guaranteed good read for me right now. We do have, like, I've still got True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. Second Chance in Newport Stephen is a Christmas read by T.J. Alexander. I don't want to do Christmas. Never said those words before. Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. Under Lock and Key by Lana Ferguson. I just don't know. I don't know. I could do a romantasy, but I just don't know if I want the fantasy. I don't think I want it. It's driving me mad. It's driving me mad, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gutted that I've already read First Time Caller, because I could totally do that. So now I don't know what to do. I'm umming and ahhing. I might actually let my patrons make a decision for me, but I'm actually tempted to break my own rules for this vlog alone, because I feel like I need the security right now that it's not me that's the problem. Because I genuinely believe that what I should do is books down for the entire month and not touch another book until I'm out of whatever this is. Maybe I'm not in a funk. Maybe the books are just not for me. But I am wondering whether to bend my own rules and pick up still a subscription box book, but one that I've bought myself. I've bought all of these myself, but one that I've made the decision to buy myself, as opposed to it coming in the subscription service. So, you know, a special edition that I have purchased myself outside of the subscription box service. So I do have a lot of options. I could read what made it onto January's TBR last month that I still haven't gotten to yet, which is Always Only You. It's a sports romance. I could read this one. It was my patron pick for January and I haven't picked it up yet. So I could do that. I have From Lukov with Love by Mariana Zapata on my TBR for February. So this would make sense, but it's chunky. So I don't know if I want that. What else do I have special edition wise? I could do Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. Ali's books always seem to be a good time. So I could do Not in Love because I know Deep End is on its way to me, and I tend to always keep one in my back pocket for a day when I need Ali to save the day. Today I think could be one of those days. Okay, hello. I am here to wrap this episode of Keep It or Yeet It up. This, when I tell you it's 6 days since I last spoke to you on this vlog. On the Tuesday, I finished Watermoon and I went into a really bad anxiety spiral. I don't know if I think it was a combination of things. I think it was a combination of my reading going so badly for this video. I think it was a combination of potentially slumping a little bit because of this video, because the reading went so bad and because I wasn't DNFing and I was like continuing on with these books and none of them got above a 2.5 star. So I don't think that helped. And then I'm waiting to hear back from the registrar as well, and that sent me into an anxiety spiral as well. I don't like waiting on phone calls. I hate it. So yeah, especially when it's something that important as well, like a legal binding thing, you know, it's sent me into a little bit of an anxiety spiral, and I spent the rest of the week in panic mode and got almost nothing done. I didn't film. I did film actually, but I think that video is going to end up being scrapped because it probably came out terribly. I certainly didn't finish it off. I started a couple of books, didn't finish those off, so that's going to be one of the first things I do today once I've finished editing this video. But in general, let's do a quick wrap up of this episode. This did not go as well as the last episode, but you know, it's got 4 books off of my TBR. So I did read Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. This has been one that's been on my TBR for a while. It has come from Illumicrate. I gave it 2.5 stars. I should have DNF'd and I did not. Then I did read I Did Something Bad, which came in December's Afterlight box. I should have DNF'd. I gave it 2.5 stars. I then DNF'd. Turns out I do know how to do that. The Phoenix Keeper. I'm glad I DNF'd this one. That was a good decision, and I will obviously be unhauling this one. In fact, I'll be unhauling all of these books. And then Watermoon by Samantha Soto Yamboa. I haven't checked. Oh no, yeah, because I came on, I definitely gave you a wrap up on this, because I came on to say that what I might do is actually break my own rules and move on to a book that I have bought from a subscription box, but it hasn't come in the subscription box service. So in general, I should only be focusing on books that have come, that I haven't picked, essentially, from these subscription box services. Whereas there are obviously some special editions that I have picked, that I have gone, you know what, I want a copy of that, I'm gonna buy it. So this one came in January from Illumicrate. I think it was Illumicrate. I gave this one 2.5 stars. I should have DNF'd. I just didn't, because I was really hoping it was going to get better, because I had incredibly high hopes for this one, and I think this is what probably sent me into the slump, to be fair. So in general, not a great round. Nothing got over 2.5 stars, and all of these books will be going into my unhaul pile. But what it did do is get 4 books off of my subscription box pile. So I started off with 42 at the beginning of this video, so we are now down to 38. And when I ran through, let me just double check that I'm getting these figures correct, because I think I got them wrong at the beginning of this video, potentially, of what books I'm having come in this month, because I skipped quite a lot. So I skipped Fairyloot's adult book for February, and I've skipped Illumicrate's adult book for February, so neither of those are coming in. I'm getting Fairyloot's Romantasy book, so that's one, and I haven't read it yet, so I'm getting that. Evernight is only every 3 months, so there's no book from them, and I have read Afterlight's book. I am getting it, but I've already read it, so I'm only adding 1 book to this TBR this month. So by the end of the month, I will have gone from 42. I've then read 4 down to 38, and then I'll be adding one more back on. We are up to 39. So I'm not done too bad, to be fair. I don't think it's gone horrendously. Definitely could have gone better. Had I DNF'd more books, I would have gotten through more books. But, you know, it is what it is. Unfortunately, it's just been one of those episodes. Hopefully, episode 3 will be much better. And I will have some more options. Well, I've got lots of options to be picking from, to be perfectly honest. But I just need to, I think... I don't know what happened. Episode 1, I was DNFing left, right and centre, and it worked out really well for me, but I was also anxious about the fact that I was DNFing left, right and centre. Was I being picky? Am I the problem? And then the comments coming through from that were incredibly positive, and it made me feel so much better. So then I don't know why in episode 2 I made the decision to persevere with books I wasn't enjoying. I don't know, I never do that. If I'm not enjoying a book, I DNF it. So I don't know what I was thinking. I think Starling House started off really well for me, and I was really hoping that it was going to end well for me as well, even if there was a lull like in the middle. It just didn't work out that way, and I've got to start, you know, I've got to stop doing that. I don't know why I continued to persevere with I did something wrong. I think it's because I was really aiming for, because Starling House did make me slumpy, and I was aiming for a romance with some suspense that would work out well for me. Just didn't like it. And then Watermoon, I had such high hopes. It was one of my 5-star predictions. I did a 5-star prediction video for the first time in years, and that was one of my predictions. And now I'm terrified about the rest of the books in that video, because am I so off base with my reading? I'm really hoping that's not the case. I'm really hoping this is the only one that isn't a 5-star read, but we'll have to see. They're all new to me authors, so I'm not going to necessarily know, but fingers crossed that's not the case, because there's a lot in there that I'm excited about. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments down below. Do you agree or disagree with me on any of these? I think this one, I'm going to be like definitely in the minority with this one. I have seen a lot of good reviews for this. So, you know, don't come for me. It is a personal opinion. But I hope you have enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments down below, and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye for now.